God's gonna trouble the water. God's gonna trouble the water. All right, who here is from Creighton? Is Creighton presente? If anyone else is from Creighton, please come and get in your seat. All right. Is Loyola Marymount present? Órale, Los Ángeles. Wade in the water. Wade in the water, children. Wade in the water. God's gonna trouble 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 the water. So as soon as I'm done with that. Caminando, caminando. Let's all stand up together, everybody. Come on, welcoming each other. Caminando, caminando. Vamos. Vamos caminando hacia el sol. Caminando, caminando hacia la unidad. Vamos caminando hacia la unidad. One more time. Caminando, caminando. Vamos. Vamos caminando hacia el sol. Caminando, caminando. Vamos caminando hacia la unidad. Mano a mano caminando, hombro a hombro trabajando. Y las tierras compartiendo. Hand to hand we're walking, shoulder to shoulder we're working, and by sharing the land we harvest freedom. Y las tierras compartiendo, libertades cosechando, cosechando, cosechando. Together, caminando. Caminando, caminando. Vamos, vamos caminando hacia el sol. Caminando hacia la libertad. Vamos caminando hacia la libertad. Hacia la libertad. Vamos caminando hacia la libertad. Hacia la libertad. Vamos caminando hacia la libertad. Oh. Now let's hear from our organizers. Let's hear a warm round of applause for all of us here present. And McGovern, everybody from the Ignatian Solidarity Network.
All right. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Ignatian Solidarity Network's 12th Annual Ignatian Family Teach-In for Justice. And on behalf of the board and the staff, we want to welcome you, and we are so grateful and happy to see all of the faces that are here tonight. My name, as Francisco said, is Ann McGovern, and I'm the director of the Ignatian Solidarity Network. Again, we want to welcome you all to the 12th annual Teach-In, where we are also commemorating the 20th anniversary of the Jesuit martyrs from El Salvador and their companions. This is a special weekend, and we invite you to take in all the experiences, all of the speakers that are coming forth throughout this weekend. Open your hearts to what is available, to how the Spirit is moving you. We want to first say that we know that this event would not be possible without your commitment to coming to Georgia, your enthusiasm and your deep desire to put your faith into action. Let's hear this one more time. Are you excited to be here? Wow. You know, I think our MCs are going to have a really hard time keeping this crowd together. All right, one more time. Are you ready to do some work, some thinking and reflecting, and some acting for justice? And as we begin tonight, I want to make some very important introductions. I want to first introduce my two colleagues who, along with a 15-member planning committee, have done the real work of bringing us together tonight. I want to ask Mike Schloss, who is our program director, to come up, and Nora Dix, who is a Jesuit volunteer serving on our staff this year, and to give them a round of applause. Mike and Nora are going to be all over this building tonight, but I thought if I didn't bring them up to the stage tonight, you might not see them till the very end of the liturgy, and they've done so much work for this, so we just want to start with a notion of gratitude. Next on my introductions, I want to invite our MCs forward. We have Father Ted Gabrielli, who's a member of the California Province of Jesuits. We have Becky Chabot, who's a graduate from the Boston College School of Theology and an alumni of Creighton. And we have Prescott Loveland, who's a member of the Jesuit Volunteer Corps from New Orleans. And then I also want to thank and introduce some of you who are here for the first time to Loretta Holstein, who's sitting up in the front. Loretta and her husband, Bob, planted the seeds for this gathering in the mid-1990s, when the movement to close the School of the Americas was beginning to catch fire among the students and staff from Jesuit schools attending the protest to close the School of the Americas. Bob Holstein was a devoted companion to the Society of Jesus, and he, along with several lay members and other leaders of the Ignatian family, launched the first Ignatian Family Teach-In for Justice in 1997. And we have been gathering under the tent, literally and figuratively, for all those years since 1997. I haven't added that up right. Sadly, Bob is no longer with us, but we know that his spirit lives on, and thanks to his wife, Loretta, the Teach-In continues, and it is growing and growing, just as Bob had envisioned that it would. The Teach-In has also led to the development of the organization, the Ignatian Solidarity Network. 5 years ago, lay leaders and Jesuits and students, campus ministers, parents, Jesuit volunteers, and many others began to ask, how could we take the energy, passion, and commitment here and translate that into social action at home? Thanks to the leadership of Father Charlie Curry from AJCU, and also a board member of the ISN, and due to the very generous support of the Jesuit Provincials and the Jesuit Conference, The Ignatian Solidarity Network was founded in 2004, and we were founded to do two primary things. The first was to coordinate and continue the Ignatian Family Teach-In for Justice every fall. Secondly, we were to facilitate ongoing programs throughout the year that would build our experience here and create ongoing opportunities for the Ignatian family to collaborate together on emerging social justice issues. As the director of ISN, I encourage all of you to think more about how you, your school, your parish, your community can be more involved with ISN. Here are some possible things to consider. Become a member of the network. Visit our membership table in the back. Attend our spring teach-in on environmental justice and sustainability that will be held at Wheeling Jesuit University March 5th through 8th. Visit our website to receive the latest on our news and programs. More importantly, start a conversation here with someone you see this weekend and talk about how you might take what you have learned and put it into action when you return. And lastly, when you look up onto this stage and you listen to our speakers and you see the words Ignatian Family Teach-In for Justice, look around the room and notice the banners representing the many roads and journeys taken here. Notice the different faces, the different cities, the different communities that are represented, and consider how Bob Holstein's vision of the ISN has gotten us this far. But now it is time for you as leaders in your schools and your parishes and communities to take the experience that happens here and transform that work for justice in your community, in your city, and in your home. I extend my best wishes to all of you. I'm excited that we are off to a great start with the energy and enthusiasm in this room, and I want to ask Father Ted and Becky to come forward and start our program. Thank you.
Please be seated. It's a great honor and pleasure to be here with you once again. For those of you who are returnees, you know some of us. For those of you who are newbies, you will get to know us over the next 24 hours or so. So welcome. Just a hint, if tonight when we're up here doing roll call, we name your school, the idea is that you let us know you're here. Because it's kind of embarrassing if we name your school and you don't say anything. So with that, we're going to give you a little test here and see what schools might be here.
All right, we're going to start with my alma mater, so please don't let me down. Fordham University. Not bad, not bad. How about the Jesuit Volunteer Corps and Jesuit Volunteer Corps Northwest? All right, not bad.
And now my alma mater's Creighton University. And the Boston College School of Theology and Ministry. I know you're here. That's depressing.
Okay, we'll give it a try for my alma maters. Jesuit High School, Sacramento. There, Marauders, way to go. Another of my alma maters, Santa Clara University. And last but not least, St. Louis University. Excellent. Welcome.
Okay, so as the students from Jesuit High Portland come up and take their places for the opening prayer, I'm going to give you all some directions. You are all told to bring water, and this is what you're going to do with it. There will be a brief selection of readings, and then we'll move into the water ritual. For each of the regions, we'll go west, Midwest, South, Northeast, and then our international friends. When you hear your region called, there will be a verbal cue. The person reading will say, "We stand presente," and you respond. Let's try that again. "We stand presente." Awesome. As soon as you hear the word presente, water bearers from that region that has just been called, come up, add your water to the bowl, and return to your group. It doesn't matter if you're still moving when we finish singing and start the next group. The goal is to kind of indicate that we're coming from all the different corners. Any questions? Awesome. And without further ado, here are the students from Jesuit High Portland.
Loving Creator, you sent your Son to walk with us, to stand presente with humanity. This weekend, inspired by his example, we come together to remember the times that we have been called to be presente, to remember the place where we have stood presente with others, and to look to the future, to the places and ways we will be called to be presente.
For I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink. A stranger, and you welcomed me. Naked, and you clothed me. Ill, and you cared for me. In prison, and you visited me. Then the righteous will answer him and say, Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you drink? When did we see you a stranger and welcome you, or naked and clothe you? When did we see you ill or in prison and visit you? And the king will say to them in reply, Amen, I say to you, whatever you did for one of these least brothers of mine, you did for me.
We remember those who have gone before, who have chosen to stand presente with the crucified peoples of the world. We remember the martyrs, those whose answer to the call cost them their lives. We remember the countless others who have dedicated their lives to the pursuit of the faith that does justice. And we pray for all those to come who will answer the call to be presente.
And my fear of death is being challenged constantly as children, lovely young girls, old people, are being shot and some cut up with machetes, and bodies thrown by the road and people prohibited from burying them. A loving Father must have a new life of an unimaginable joy and peace prepared for these precious, unknown, uncelebrated martyrs. One cries out, Lord, how long? And then, too, what creeps into my mind is the little fear, or big, that when it touches me personally, will I be faithful? Maura Clark.
As we gather this weekend, we come from many different places and bring stories with us. Stories that have shaped us, changed us, challenged us, encouraged us, and supported us as we struggle to be men and women for and with others.
As we come together, we draw from the wellspring of life that unites us, sustains us, fills us, nourishes us, and invigorates us. The waters of the Chattahoochee flow just outside these walls. To those waters, we add water from around the U.S. as we recall the living waters of baptism that draw us together.
From San Diego Bay to the Willamette River to the Puget Sound, states of the West, we stand presente.
Wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. God's gonna trouble the water.
From the Great Lakes to Minnesota's 10,000 lakes, states of the Midwest, we stand presente.
Wade in the water, wade in the water, children, together. Wade in the water, God's gonna trouble the water. God's gonna trouble the water.
From the Colorado River to the Gulf of Mexico to Charleston Harbor, states of the South, we stand presente.
Wade in the water, together. Wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. God's gonna trouble the water.
From Chesapeake Bay to the Finger Lakes to Bar Harbor, states of the Northeast, we stand presente.
Wade in the water, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. God's gonna trouble the water.
Water pays no attention to borders. From countries near and far, sisters and brothers from beyond the U.S., we stand presente.
Wade in the water, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. God's gonna trouble the water.
As we begin this weekend, we come together like the waters that have stood witness to history. The hope, the despair, the love, the pain, the consolation and desolation, and together we choose to stand.
Presente, everybody together. Presente. Wade in the water, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. God's gonna trouble the water. God's gonna trouble the water.
Let's give a round of applause to Jesuit High School, Portland. Thank you for starting us off right. All right, our first speaker this evening is on the steering committee of the Teach-In. She's been coming for 9 years, and it's had a profound impact on her life. She's a Master's of Divinity student at University of Santa Clara, and she is very active with Team Enduring Hope, which raises money for the recovery of New Orleans. And she's going to give you a reflection on Presente, the theme of this year's Teach-In. So let's give a warm welcome to Susan Harmon.
Good evening, everyone. Oh, let's try that again. Come on, good evening. My name is Susan Harmon, and to say that I have been formed by the Jesuits is something of an understatement. I graduated from Marquette, did the Jesuit Volunteer Corps in Houston, Texas, worked for 2 years at Wheeling Jesuit University, somewhere, and before leaving to do a Master's of Divinity at the Jesuit School of Theology. This is my 9th consecutive year at the Teach-In, and much of who I am today has been shaped by the experiences that I have had here. When I was 18 years old, I got on a bus and rode 16 hours from Milwaukee, Wisconsin to Columbus, Georgia. I was going to protest the government. Bush had just been elected to his first term, and it seemed like the only appropriate thing for a good Democrat to do. All I knew was that the army was totally evil, and I was going to go to this protest, and if I played my cards right and got lucky, I might even get arrested. It was going to give me mad street cred. It was going to be awesome. What I actually found that weekend was the Ignatian Family Teach-In. I learned the stories of the Uka martyrs, the 4 churchwomen, the massacred El Mozote, the hundreds and thousands of dead all over Latin America. I soon began to realize the complexity of the issues surrounding the School of the Americas, and that the soldiers and the army at Fort Benning were not the enemy, indeed far from it. And then on that Sunday, I stood and I listened as the litany was read. I heard the names pour over me, and I felt something within me break as I realized that every single name was a life. A life ended, a life stolen. I watched Jerry Fisher, my campus minister, and my hero, pick up a cross that bore the name Octavio Ramirez and cross the line as I chanted Presente. In that moment, I realized I had only begun to understand what it meant to be a Christian. That weekend, I read Ida Ford's letter to her niece for the first time, and I felt as though she was speaking directly to me when she said, "I hope you come to find something that gives you life and deep meaning, something worth living for, and maybe even something worth dying for." I began asking myself every day thereafter if the things I were pursuing were things that were worth living and dying for. 4 years later, I would watch my friend Brian DeRuin squeeze through the fences to pray for peace on the grounds of the school, committing civil disobedience for which he would spend 4 months in a federal prison. As we chanted Presente, I realized I had only begun to know what a life dedicated to social justice looked like. And it was that desire to go deeper that helped me decide to join the Jesuit Volunteer Corps. During that year, my JVC community and I traveled to El Salvador. There I met a woman whose 16-year-old son had been disappeared during the Civil War. She told stories about sneaking into the places where the bodies of the dead were kept, and night after night after night, searching for her son. One evening, she found a body that wore a shirt that looked like something her son had owned, but the head had been almost completely blown off by a shotgun blast. She stopped looking after that. She said she was never sure if it was him or not, but that she knew that he was gone. That next year in Georgia, I bore his name on a white cross as I chanted Presente. I hope that wherever he was, he knew that he hadn't been forgotten. Presente. It's such a deceivingly